Right, to discuss this further, let's bring in Olu Ojiwale, the regional coordinator for Central Africa at the Institute for Security Studies. He joins us live via Zoom from Dakar. Oluwole, thank you very much for joining us. Well, the focal center of the Sudan conflict appears to have moved to the south-central region of Kordofan recently. What could be behind this shift and likely implications in the future?
Thank you so much for having me once again. I think it's important to say the displacement of the RSF from Khartoum, it's a very serious blow to the paramilitary group. And the significance of Kordofan in the sense that it represents a critical logistic hub that connects to the other part of the region, and the fact that there is also the geographic and strategic positioning of that region. Not only as logistic hub but for availability of resources that can become a critical leverage to the paramilitary group in particular. And in this regard, I'm talking about oil. For them to be able to hoist the wheel of their violence and sustain this war against the Sudan army, they need to gain access to critical resources like the oil that is present in the western part of the Kordofan. So I think this is about the last frontier that the RSF will not allow to give up on easily because of this strategic positioning that I mentioned.
Right, and we have been hearing, of course, that fighting around the city of El Fasher in North Darfur state continues unabated there. Why has none of the warring sides prevailed?
It's very difficult for either of both parties to prevail for the obvious reasons. One, it has been very difficult for military maneuver because of the destruction of critical infrastructure like road deployment has been very, very difficult. And also, apart from that, is the fact that I think both parties are worried of international backlash, particularly since in the recent time there has been a strategic focus in terms of what international criminal courts has been emphasizing in terms of the potential backlash that the civilians are experiencing in their region, to the point that we've even had instances of the mention of the case of genocide. So I think the fear of Hague might be limiting both parties in taking strategic destruction that we have seen characterized other regions that fight has taken place.
Right, and finally, looking at the wider picture here, how maybe can Africa help Sudan with the worsening humanitarian situation, especially in the wake of declining international relief assistance?
If they can muster the courage and the resources, I think the number one thing is to create an humanitarian corridor around Libya, Chad, which are very, very strategic and has become the critical place that the internally displaced people across border have been flowing into. So I think that is the number one thing, at least for the short-term solution now on the part of the African Union. But I'm not sure if they have a political will, but that should be an area to look into. The second area, which I think is very, very important, is the African Union need to occupy the center stage in terms of peace negotiation and peace building. This crisis is going into the third year now, and then it's almost becoming a zero-sum game for both parties. So I think those critical areas are very, very important, creating an humanitarian corridor, at least for the people who have been internally displaced to be able to access basics life support system now.